Hey everyone, it's Kevin here with Views About Anything, and today we have my Samsung Note 10 Plus. I've had this phone for about 7 or 8 months now, maybe a little bit longer, and I just thought I would give my kind of long-term review of this phone, especially since the Note 20, or whatever they decide to call it, is coming out, and also the Pixel is going to be coming out, and there's a bunch of other rumored phones like the Nokia 9.3, and then Motorola just came out with a phone, and the new HTC and LGs and all those things. So I just thought, and of course the iPhone's coming out in September. With all that, I felt like it was a good time to kind of get this long-term review out so people would know if this phone's worth getting, especially coming up soon at a discount in comparison to the new stuff that's coming out, since usually phones like this that are about a year old or sometimes even less get some pretty hefty discounts to clear the stock out for these new phones. So to kind of give an overview of this phone, here it is. I do have a case on it. This is a Tech 21 clear case. So as you can see, kind of just want to be able to see this pretty back that Samsung designed, but I will take this off. If you guys have any questions about this case, let me know. I can make a very short video on this or not. But quick about that, Tech 21 cases are awesome. Highly recommend them, especially the if you want a clear case, they're pretty much the best ones on the market. So the Samsung Note 10 Plus. We have a 6.8 inch 1440 by 3040 pixels display. Very bright, very high contrast, very deep, rich blacks, as you can tell. Super nice contrast with the white numbers here on this nice oily, deep black display. As you can tell, even when the screen turns off, there's not much difference between the screen off, obviously, and the this oily black background here. So that's one thing that's very nice. Very high nit brightness on this as well. Very bright display. Don't have really many issues viewing it outside in super bright direct sunlight. I had a little bit of an issue seeing some pictures I was trying to show friends at outside. Other than that, but that was asking a lot. It was one of the brightest days so far here where I live, so can't really complain about the screen on this phone. Would be nice to have a high refresh rate. This phone did come out as high refresh rate phones were starting to hit. This is supposed to be Samsung's, Mac Daddy flagship of flagship phones, obviously, so was a bit disappointing to see that this is still only 60 hertz. We have a under the screen fingerprint reader. We have a punch hole camera up here at the top. We also have 12 gigs of RAM and a Snapdragon 855, a 4,300 milliamp hour battery, and the One UI from Samsung came with Android 9.0. It's been updated to 10 now, / Samsung One UI 2. It has been getting regular security and other updates as well. I just got an update on this phone the beginning of this month. So good on that front as well. Samsung being a bit better than they were in the past about updates and everything. To give an overview of the phone now, we look here on the bottom. We have all the way to the left, we have an antenna band here. Come over a bit, we have a microphone hole, our USB-C port, a speaker grill, another antenna line, and then our S Pen. Moving it over to the right of the phone, we have pretty much nothing except for right up here. This another antenna band here. Rotating to the top, we have another microphone hole, a port for the front/ear speaker, another antenna line, and then our little ejection hole for the SIM/micro SD card tray here. Moving it again over to the left side of the phone, you can see here another antenna line, and then you should be able to make it out, but the metal frame actually extends down a little bit right here into the back of the phone to where you have your volume up and down and your power. The volume up and down is one bar. They are not separate. So that's one thing to keep in mind if that's a preference of yours. Here on the back, this gets very fingerprinty and very pretty though. Obviously you can see all the different colors it gets. And then here we have a camera hump, quite a big hump as well. It does make your phone rock on a table, but is what it is. This is what we have now. So starting from the top, we have a 12 megapixel 1.5 to 2.4 f 27 millimeter wide dual pixel autofocus optical illumination main camera. The next one down is another 12 megapixel at an f2.1 with a 52 millimeter lens. That is our telephoto. It also has the OIS and a 2 optical zoom and regular autofocus. And then our last one here is a 16 megapixel f2.2 12 millimeter ultra wide with super steady video enabled in this one. And then here we have our flash, and we have our, right here, our auto HDR sensor, and then our panorama and our depth sensor there as well. So that's all right on the back of the phone. So, and like I said, the camera bump is a bit intense. You lay it down here and you will notice it rocks a bit. That's why I have the case. The case makes it flat. Also just to protect the phone, obviously. Other features of the phone, obviously we have our S Pen here. It's a nice blue, purple color here with a silver button at the end or click, and the multi-use button here. There's a bunch of different stuff this can do. I mainly use this for writing notes, doing grocery lists, and drawing little things kind of for reminders or trying to get points across and talking to people and things like that. So yeah, that goes in here. It's nice, wireless charging, decent size. I use it probably a couple times a month, maybe a couple times a week. Sometimes it varies. Not the super most important thing to me. What I was really looking for when I bought this phone was that 6.8 inch OLED display here. Gorgeous display from Samsung, as always. So that was my main concern. I do watch a decent bit of content on my phone. This is also a work phone, so having this extra real estate really does help when split screening different apps on this phone. So to get into the phone, like I said, we do have a front-facing camera, and then we have our in-the-screen fingerprint reader here. So let's see if it works. Yep, worked that time. I guess since we're talking about features here, that will be my first gripe about this phone, is this fingerprint reader. So if we pull it up again, let's see. We got it that time. Third try. Let's do it again here. Got it that time. Do it one more time here. And second try. I have this thumb registered twice, and that's still the accuracy that I get. And it's actually behaving a bit better on camera than it does in regular life. So I took off the screen protector because I supposedly even the factory screen protector that's included on the phone is not good for the under-screen fingerprint reader. So I tried that, still had issues. So then I originally had I had these 2 fingers and these 2 fingers registered. You can only have 4 fingers registered, which is a bit annoying. So then I removed both my index fingers and went both my thumbs, 2 on this, 2 on this, and I still get that amount of inaccuracy. So we go here with the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now it's locked out. So not even once did it get it with that finger. So, and this one is registered after the 30 seconds, so I'll do it again. But it's big letdown on that in the screen fingerprint reader. I know it's supposed to be safer than some of the other ones out there, but I don't think they should have put it on this phone because it wasn't ready. I don't know how the S20 and S20 Plus and S20 Ultras are doing, but this phone specifically, I don't think the fingerprint reader was really ready. Probably was, so the problems with it are just not that great. Hopefully they improve for the S20 for you Note fans out there. I mean for this, or the Note 20, or so, yeah. So let's try this again now. Nope. No. Yeah, it's just, a lot of times it just doesn't want to work with different fingers. So that's one thing I've noticed as well, is if you go from one thumb to the other thumb, just like that, obviously it doesn't like to recognize the other thumb. So I'll try it again here. No? There we go. See? It worked that time. So it doesn't like switching between fingerprints either as well, which is annoying. I never really had those issues with standard fingerprint readers. So I guess since we're on the train of things I don't like now, camera hump, like I mentioned, is a bit annoying when you're trying to use it on a flat surface like this. The lack of a headphone jack is a bit annoying as well. I do like using many different type of headphones. Not all my headphones are Bluetooth, so that is a bit annoying. Not a huge fan of the curves on this display. I have relatively big hands, and when using it, you can kind of see here my hand gets onto the screen. The palm rejection's pretty good, but it's not the best. I do have errors sometimes with websites, and especially with YouTube, where if I'm holding it different ways, sometimes it'll pull up a different video while I'm watching a specific video. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well. The other big thing that I would say that's quite annoying about this phone is, if we look up here at the top, you should be able to, I'll bring it closer here. I am at 75% battery. This phone has been off the charge for maybe an hour, if that. The battery life on this is super inconsistent. To have a 4,300 milliamp hour battery on it, some times I get a day and a half on a charge. Some days I get, it seems like a couple hours. Some days I have to charge multiple times throughout the day, but then some days I just am able to go through an entire day and not have to charge it. Sometimes even a day and a half, like I said. So I know Samsung's had this issue in the past where it'll have little things in the background draw, and I know there are optimizations and other things built in this phone. I use them all the time, try to clear out background apps, all this other thing, but for some reason still this phone is very inconsistent with battery life. And it's not even as it's been since day one. Day one, it's been very inconsistent. And I know that's an issue that Samsung's had in the past, and I guess it still plagues this phone to this day. So if you're looking for very dependable battery life, this is not a phone I'd recommend. The fast charge does work nice, so if you're able to be around a plug often like I am, I almost always have my work laptop, my personal laptop, a battery bank, or even a wall outlet available. So I am able to kind of top this phone off as needed, or even in the car. So, but if you're someone that's moving around a lot and does not have those luxuries, then this phone might not be for you, because it might leave you stranded a couple times. And it has definitely, even me, where I normally have stuff on me to charge, I've definitely run down to where it's died during the day before. So that's a disappointment. Other than that, the phone, I don't really have any other complaints. The RAM, the amount of RAM is fantastic. The display is fantastic. Besides it not being a high refresh rate, I would like that, but the phone came out when it came out, even though there were some high refresh rate displays out, but that is what it is. This next Note will probably be a high refresh rate, so if you are looking for that and a Note, then this new one will probably be what you want. The speakers are nice and loud. I wish they were both front facing. So as you can see, we have a speaker here on the bottom, and then up here, you probably won't be able to see it, but up here, there's a slight gap between this metal and the glass, and you might be able to just barely see it there. And there's your ear speaker there. They get pretty loud. It's a bit annoying sometimes when watching YouTube videos and you have your hands, kind of cupping the phone. So you have it like this, right? You can easily block the port down here and the port up here, which makes the phone sound very different. Also, of course, moving your hands around and everything makes it sound different. So it would have been nice just for them to kind of do what they did up here, but down here, or even off-centered. Because obviously I know we have our USB-C port here, but maybe one here and one here. And I would be a little more understanding for not having a headphone jack if I had dual front-facing speakers. But this is what we have here. So, like I said, from a performance standpoint, Snapdragon 855, 12 gigs of RAM, never ran into any issues with speed. Everything's very snappy. Everything loads quite well. So pulling up the camera's open, boom. Switching between them, fine. Pull up the Play Store, quick. Pull up Bus app here, fine. And it does some work stuff that I can't really do anything about, but yeah. Pull open the weather here, very quick. Everything runs nice and snappy. So that performance, fantastic. Screen, like I said, is fantastic. Audio is fine. Wish it would have had a headphone jack as well. Like I said, it comes with these headphones, these AKG branded Samsung headphones with a USB-C on it. It's fine. I wish it would have come with a USB-C to 3.5. It did not. So I think they're trying to get you to buy the Samsung buds. I had these, the Jabra Elite 65Ts. That's what I use, or my BO Bang & Olufsen H9Is. So yeah. Other than that, I guess I will do a quick size comparison for you guys. I do have another phone here. So I have the iPhone 11. If we look at them side by side, line them up, you can see the Note's quite a bit taller. I will show them that way. The camera bump on the iPhone is crazy. Obviously, it has a glass layer and then the camera rings, so that makes that bump insane, even in comparison. This looks small, obviously. So the iPhone looks a touch thicker. Obviously, it's shorter. They're about the same width, but obviously, looking at both the phones side by side, the bezels are insane, really, on the iPhone. It's hard to see the bezels on this, so I will change it to a lighter background real quick for you guys so you can see actually what this phone looks like. Try to change it to a similar background real quick. This is obviously like a blue and kind of color in white. So we can get this here, set that as default. So there, now you can see the punch hole and the bezels, or lack thereof. It is night and day. These phones are about the same age, and it looks like the iPhone is a couple years old with how thick these bezels are and that notch, obviously. So Punch hole's fine, doesn't bother me. Some people are bothered by it, some people, aren't. I'd rather have the punch hole than this giant notch. So that's a size comparison for that. If you want an Android phone to compare it to, here is the Essential phone. The Samsung's quite a bit taller. Samsung's a bit thinner. But yeah, this is still one of my favorite designed smartphones. No camera hump. Nice square design, but that can be for another day. So if you were considering the Samsung Note 10 Plus as a phone to get a discount, if you're a big Samsung fan, then go for it. If you're not, if you're kind of on the edge, like, oh, should I get this or something else, I'd probably recommend getting something else, just simply because of those issues I've had. The fingerprint reader is going to probably drive you insane. The inconsistent battery life is going to probably drive you insane. And the cameras are just okay. It's not iPhone camera. It's not Pixel camera. So if you're a camera person, I'm not a huge iPhone person, but I would tell you to go iPhone or Pixel before that. So, or even the new Sony phone is supposed to be really good. The new, their new Mark II of the Xperia phone. So, this one though, like I said, the cameras are okay. Audio is okay. A lot of this phone is just fine. It's a fine phone. It doesn't do anything really that horrible, except for the fingerprint reader, really, and then the inconsistency in battery life. Everything else is just good. Non-offensive, just fine. So, the skin can be a bit annoying at times. There's a lot of double-loaded apps. I've disabled a lot of apps on this phone. So that's another thing you have to consider as well. If you're more of a pure Android person, obviously there's much better options out there. But if you live in the Samsung ecosystem, have other Samsung products, then this might be the phone for you. But if you can get a good enough deal for how much this phone costs brand new, I wouldn't recommend it. If you could get it for the $500 to $600 mark, if it ever goes on sale that cheap, maybe even $700, I'd say it's probably worth it. The display and the amount of RAM, the storage, the everything is pretty great. Now, Samsung's not the best on supporting the devices over time, but hopefully, this will get Android 11 and then you'll be fine for a bit. But yeah, so if you guys have any other questions or concerns or want me to compare it to something different, you can leave a comment down below. Also, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.